In this video we are going to talk about top 10 conspiracy theories. So before starting this video, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. Concealment. Simply using the term in conversation will cause people to withdraw politely, searching for someone who will not corner them with wild theories about how Elvis, John F. Kennedy, and Bigfoot are cryogenically frozen in an underground bunker. Number 10. The 9/11 conspiracies. The evidence is clear that the September 11, 2001, terrorist attacks were the result of a plot. There is no question about it. A thorough, or even cursory, examination of the facts reveals that it was meticulously orchestrated and carried out by conspirators. Of course, the question is who those conspirators were. While Osama bin Laden and his crew of, mostly Saudi, hijackers were complicit in the plot, what about President Bush and Vice President Dick Cheney? Did senior Bush advisors, including Paul Wolfowitz and Donald Rumsfeld, collude with bin Laden or cause the attacks to occur on purpose? In other words, was this an inside job? Conspiracy theorists believe this, citing a laundry list of alleged anomalies in the official account of the attacks. Number 9. Princess Diana's murder. Within hours of Princess Diana's death in a Paris highway tunnel on August 31, 1997, conspiracy theories began to circulate. As was the case with John F. Kennedy's assassination, the fact that such a beloved and prominent figure could be assassinated so abruptly came as a shock. This was particularly true of Princess Diana. Royalty dies of old age, political intrigue, or an excess of rich food. They do not die at the hands of a drunk driver. Unlike several other conspiracy theories, this one was promoted by a billionaire, Mohammed al-Fayed, the father of Dodi al-Fayed, who was assassinated alongside Diana. Al-Fayed asserts that the crash was actually an assassination carried out at the behest of the royal family by British intelligence services. A 2006 inquiry investigated allegations Fayed's and found them to be baseless. The following year, at Diana's inquest, the coroner reported that the conspiracy theory proposed by Mohammed al-Fayed has been minutely examined and demonstrated to be without substance. On April 7 this year, a coroner's jury determined that Diana and al-Fayed were unlawfully killed as a result of the chauffeur's intoxication and chasing paparazzi. Number 8. Subliminal advertising. Have you ever been watching a film and unexpectedly developed the munchies? Or are you sitting on your sofa watching television and unexpectedly have an overwhelming desire to purchase a new car? If this is the case, you might be a victim of a subliminal advertisement plot. Wilson Bryan Key, author of Subliminal Seduction, and Vance Packard, author of The Hidden Persuaders, were both proponents, claiming that subliminal, subconscious messages were prevalent and harmful in advertising. Though the books sparked public outrage and prompted FCC hearings, much of the information contained in both books has since been debunked, and many key studies on the impact of subliminal ads have been discovered to be forgeries. Number 7. The hoax of the moon landing. American astronauts and NASA staged a Mars landing in the 1978 film Capricorn 1. Though it was a mediocre film, it introduced an intriguing concept that would survive for decades. In 2001, Fox Television broadcast Conspiracy Theory: Did We Land on the Moon?, which rehashed many debunked discrepancies between the official account of the moon landing and photos of the landing. Intriguingly, they never explain why NASA will distribute photos, proving that the moon landing was a hoax. Numerous websites, such as badastronomy.com, contain pages upon pages of thorough refutations of the Fox claims. Of course, even if there were compelling proof that the 1969 Apollo moon landing was a hoax, conspiracy theorists would still have to account for subsequent moon missions involving a dozen astronauts. Additionally, there is the question of the hundreds of pounds of moon rocks that have been analyzed and tested as being of extraterrestrial origin. How did NASA obtain the rocks if not from a moon landing? Numerous astronauts have been insulted by the suggestion that their achievements were fabricated. Indeed, when conspiracy theorist Bart Sibrel approached Buzz Aldrin in 2002 and accused him of being a coward and a liar for faking the moon landings, the 72-year-old punched Sibrel in the jaw. Number 6. Paul McCartney's death. Paul McCartney, the Beatles' guitarist, died in 1966, according to several reports and conspiracy theories that circulated in the late 1960s. The remaining Beatles members, along with their manager and others, conspired to conceal McCartney's death, including hiring a look-alike and sound-alike to fill his shoes in the band. To some extent, in a case of seriously warped logic, even by conspiracy theory standards, the conspirators in this case went to great lengths to prevent the press and public from learning about McCartney's demise, yet they still wanted fans to hear, and cleverly concealed information about McCartney's demise in album covers and music. For instance, on the Abbey Road album cover, all four Beatles are photographed striding across a zebra crossing, but only McCartney is photographed barefoot and out of step with the other three. This must have some significance, correct? Despite the band's public denials, fans couldn't let it go and banded together to search for further clues. Number 5. Assassination of John F. Kennedy. In 1963, John F. Kennedy was assassinated in a Dallas motorcade. Who assassinated John F. Kennedy? The majority of conspiracy theorists, though not all, acknowledge that Lee Harvey Oswald assassinated Kennedy from a book depository. Beyond this fact, there is a vast field of conspiracy theory, which has produced endless speculation and hundreds of books, papers, and films. Was a second assassin present, maybe on a nearby, grassy knoll? And, if Oswald did act alone, who directed him? Activists opposed to Fidel Castro, bosses of organized crime? A resentful husband enraged by Kennedy's philandering? Though the Warren Commission concluded that Oswald acted alone, a 1979 report by the House Select Committee on Assassinations indicated that there was a plot and possibly more than one gunman. Conspiracy theories would thrive in such a complicated and sensational situation. Number 4. The cover-up of the Roswell crash. Almost all skeptics and believers agree on one point. Something crashed in 1947 on a remote ranch outside of Roswell, New Mexico. The government initially believed it was a saucer, but later retracted the assertion, claiming it was actually a weather balloon. However, the best evidence indicates that it was not a flying saucer or a weather balloon, but a high-altitude, top-secret military balloon called Project Mogul. As it turns out, the wreckage described by the original eyewitnesses closely matches photographs of the Project Mogul balloons, right down to the silvery finish and mysterious symbols on the side. The reports of crashed alien bodies did not emerge until decades later, and no one considered the Roswell crash to be something strange or extraterrestrial until 30 years later, when a book on the subject was released. There was a cover-up, but it was not to conceal a crashed saucer. Rather, it was to conceal a Cold War-era espionage scheme. Number 3. Protocols of the Elders of Zion. The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion is a forgery that purports to expose a Jewish plot to conquer the world. It first appeared in Russia in 1905 and explained how a small group of influential Jews would target Christians' morals, finances, and health. Of course, the notion of a Jewish plot is not new. It has been expressed by numerous prominent figures, including Henry Ford and Mel Gibson. In 1920, Henry Ford arranged for the publication of 500,000 copies of The Protocols of the Elders of Zion, and in the 1930s, the Nazis used the book to justify their genocide against Jews. In fact, Adolf Hitler referred to the Protocols in his book, Mein Kampf. Though the book has been thoroughly debunked as a fraud and forgery, it remains in print and is widely distributed throughout the world. Number 2. Satanic cults. Throughout the 1980s and early 1990s, America was horrified by a wave of child abuse incidents. Adults were accused by children of serial rapes, torture, and violence, and the news media sensationalized the tales. Frequently, the proceedings contained charges of Satanism. Geraldo Rivera's notorious NBC special, Devil Worship, exposing Satan's Underground, which aired on October 28, 1988, was the peak. Rivera drew his conclusions from self-proclaimed Satanism specialists, erroneous figures, crimes with only a tenuous connection to Satanism, and sensationalized media coverage. Rivera believed, in front of the largest audience for a documentary in television history, that an orchestrated, satanic plot was at work murdering infants, innocents, and performing heinous rituals. This country has over 1 million Satanists, Rivera said, adding that, the chances are, they live in your place. Rivera showed no proof. The absence of evidence was interpreted as evidence of how well planned and cunning the satanic plot was. Nonetheless, there is no evidence to support allegations of satanic cults or conspiracies. FBI agent Kenneth Lanning concluded in a 1992 study on ritual crime that widespread reports of ritual killings, cannibalism, and abduction were baseless. According to Philip Stevens Jr., associate professor of anthropology at the State University of New York at Buffalo, widespread accusations of Satanist crimes constitute the greatest fraud perpetrated on the American people in the 20th century. Number 1. Big Pharma. Almost all, except investors, despises pharmaceutical firms. Drugs are prohibitively expensive, drug industry profits are obscene, and it seems as if every few months, some drug that was once touted as safe is yanked from the market after patients die. It's unsurprising that the pharmaceutical industry, Big Pharma, is viewed with skepticism. However, some advocates of alternative medicine claim that pharmaceutical firms conspire to keep patients ill in order to maximize profits. For instance, Kevin Trudeau, best-selling author of Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About, asserts that critical medical knowledge is being withheld due to a conspiracy involving the medical establishment and large pharmaceutical corporations. According to Trudeau, some organizations, like the pharmaceutical industry, do not want people to hear about disease cures. Jenny McCarthy, an actress and model, appeared on Larry King Live to accuse doctors and the pharmaceutical industry of conspiring to obliterate evidence linking childhood vaccinations to autism. What do you think about this video? Do let us know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.